Session we are going to talk about event functions in Unity. What are event functions in Unity? The code inside the Unity script does not work like a traditional code in any other program or any other code. Instead, Unity passes control to the script by calling certain functions within it. These functions are called event functions as they are executed in the response to certain events during the gameplay. Unity identifies these functions on the basis of their names given by the Unity itself and executes them according to the event during the gameplay. Some of the important event functions in Unity are as follows. We have awake function, we have start function, we have update, we have late update, and we have fixed update. Awake function. The first scene of the game is loaded upon running the game application. So when you run any game application, the scene is loaded and all the objects basically inside the scene or within the scene are initialized upon the scene loading. Once the objects are created and initialized, awake function inside the Unity script is invoked and executed. Okay, awake function in the script is basically an initialization function, which is the first function to be executed within a script. This function is called only once and is executed even if the script is not enabled or active. Let's see what is start function. Start function in the script is called only after awake function is called, and it is called once in the life cycle of a script. Unlike awake function, it is executed only if the script is enabled in Unity. Update function is defined in the monoBehavior class and will run automatically in each frame of the game if the monoBehavior is active. What is frame? Frame is basically one still image that is rendered on the screen. Okay, the update function runs periodically while our game is running. The update function is invoked or called once per frame. The calling of an update function depends on the frame rate for the game. What is frame rate? Frame rate is basically the frequency at which the consecutive still images are rendered on the screen. The time interval will be basically low for high frame rates and will be high for the low frame rate. Late update function is called once per frame after the update has finished calling. The late update function behaves exactly in a similar manner to that of an update function, except that it is called only after the update function is called. This function is basically commonly used to make the camera follow the player or any other game object. Then lastly, we have fixed update function. Fixed update function does not depend on the frame rate. Fixed update will have constant time intervals. Fixed update function can be called multiple times per frame if the frame rate is low, or it may not be called per frame if the frame rate is high. It is quite possible that fixed update will be called more than the update function. Okay, so that's it guys. That's it for the session. In the next session, we'll see an examples for start, update, late update, and fixed update functions. We'll also see the difference between them. I will see you guys in the next session. We are going to see an example for awake, start, update, late update, and fixed update functions within the script in Unity. For that purpose, we have already created an empty game object here, and the name of the empty game object is event functions. We have also created a script event functions. Let's open the script here. Okay, let's add awake function, late update function, and fixed update function to the script. Okay, so guys, we have added awake function, late update function, and fixed update function to the script here. Okay, so awake function is the initialization function basically, and it will be the first function to be called within the script. So when you run any application, any gaming application, the objects are first initialized and created. So once the objects are created and initialized, awake function will be invoked and called inside Unity script. Let's print something inside the awake function. This is an awake function. Okay, so coming to the start function here, start function will basically be called only after the awake function is executed. Okay, start function will be called only once in the life cycle of the script. Let's print something inside the start function as well. Start function. Okay. Coming to the update function here, update function will be called only after the start function is invoked. Update function will be called once per frame. So the calling of the update function totally depends on the frame rate of the game. Let's print something inside the update function as well. Okay, so update function is executed at, let's add a function in Unity which is time.delta time. Basically, time.delta time will actually tell us the time taken for the completion of the last frame here. Okay, coming to the late update function. Late update function again is called once per frame. It is exactly like update function, but the only difference is that late update function will be called only after update function is executed. Late update function can be used if you want your camera to follow the player or something like that, or maybe you want your camera to follow any other game object. Let's print something inside late update function. Late update function is executed at, again let's add time.delta time. This will tell us the time taken for the completion of the last frame. Basically, coming to the last fixed update function here, fixed update function basically does not depend on the frame rate of the game. Okay, the time interval between fixed update functions being called is always constant in Unity. Let's print something again inside the fixed update function. Okay, fixed update is executed at, let's add time.delta time again. Okay, let's go and run the scene here. Okay guys, here is the output for the code. This is an awake function. Awake function will be the first function to be executed. Then we have start function that will follow the awake function. Then later fixed update, update and late update functions will be executed. Fixed update function does not depend on the frame rate, and the time interval in the fixed update function will always be constant. Okay, so all the fixed update function basically will have 0.02 here, okay, as the output. Update function and late update functions, they both have 0.02 as the time interval. Okay, but if we go down, this time is changing here for both update function and late update function, since both these functions depends on the frame rate of the game basically. Okay, so that's it guys, thank you for the session.